Hello Foggies, and welcome to episode 8 of the Foggy Author. If we haven't met before, my name is Brett Jackson and I write books through the haze of brain fog. In this week's My Writing Life, what a busy week it's been. Henry is back on holiday with us. This little fella is back for a few days. So, while the people he lives with go on holiday, he gets to holiday with us. We went to Rufford Abbey and we had a walk around the grounds. This historic building has some beautiful gardens, and the weather was great. Last week, I also decided to make a change to my diet in an attempt to lose more weight. So far, I've lost just over 4 pounds, and the only changes I've made are to stop eating bread and eat more salad stuff. The scales are noticing the difference, and so am I. I have more energy, and I don't have the slump I get from eating as much processed food. We had a board games evening at our house and played some cartographers and other games. I've watched Clarkson's Farm, more episodes of Supernatural, and read the Christian Writer magazine, more of the YouTube Channels for Dummies book. I've also listened to more writing podcasts this week, and it's all part of the Insane 185 that I joined a couple of weeks ago. I've also listened to podcasts. The Insane 185 is a chance to make myself a better author. It also requires you to rest every now and then, which is really important because a lot of authors don't usually tend to do this, and that can lead to burnout. I've also upgraded my shelves from the flimsy, damaged units to something a bit stronger and much sturdier. I no longer have to worry if they're going to collapse on me. I went on YouTube onto Sky SD Hager's live stream with Stephanie Marie Whitson. Got so much done and we had a good chat. I've uploaded another chapter of Time Clones Book 1 and I did my first Wednesday writing live. It was incredible. I got so much done. I even got another subscriber. Thank you ever so much for everyone who joined. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Some of my conversation was talking about the shelving, since I'd only half put it up during the week. One of the commenters suggested that I create some kind of video to show you my setup and how I built it. So I've decided to add that as today's featured article. In this week's Ask the Author, AdaraWrites asked the following question. Have you ever thought about selling your books at a convention? Ooh, good question. I can remember a couple of years ago when I was living in Liverpool, I went to a sci-fi and fantasy con in Burton-on-Trent, hosted by an author friend of mine. It was such a success that the following year they had to find another venue because the original one simply wasn't big enough. I spent a lot of time asking questions about the stall my friend had and how she was selling her books and other merchandise, and decided I would like to do this one day. I designed a poster for a roller banner with the intention of selling books at the convention and ended up at my local WH Smith selling copies of Time Clones instead. I still would like to sell books at a convention one day, but I feel I need to write a few more first so that I can fill the stall with more choices for readers. Thanks Adara for asking this question. If you'd like to ask the author anything about my life as an author, about time travel, or my books, then please feel free to get in touch by leaving a comment underneath this video, and I'll have a go at answering it sometime in the future. Book of the Week. This week's book of the week is Lost in Time by A.G. Riddle. Control the past, save the future. One morning, Dr. Sam Anderson wakes up to find that the woman he loves has been murdered. For Sam, the horror is only the beginning. He and his daughter are accused of the crime. The evidence is ironclad and they will be convicted. And so, to ensure his daughter goes free, Sam does what he must. He confesses. But in the future, murderers aren't sent to prison. Thanks to a machine Sam helped invent, The world's worst criminals are now sent to the past, approximately 200 million years into the past, to the dawn of the time of the dinosaurs, where they must live out their lives alone in exile from the human race. Sam accepts his fate, but his daughter doesn't. Adeline Anderson has already lost her mother to a deadly, unfair disease. She can't bear to lose her father as well, so she sets out on a quest to prove him innocent and to get him back. People around her insist that both are impossible tasks, but Adeline doesn't give up. She only works harder. She soon learns that impossible tasks are her speciality, that she is made of tougher stuff than she ever imagined. As she peels back the layers of the mystery that tore her father from this world, Adeline finds more questions than answers. Everyone around her is hiding a secret, but which ones are connected to the murder that exiled her father? That mystery stretches across the past, present and future and leads to a revelation that will change everything. Copies of this book are available on Amazon. As always, the link is below in the description. Featured article. In this week's featured article, my first Wednesday writing live. Earlier, I mentioned how I did my first Wednesday writing live and just how much fun it was. During the live, we did some writing together and I chatted to people in the comments. One of the comments really struck me and I decided to do this week's featured article about how I made my writing live setup. Since my little mascot Hoggy, my pig-shaped timer, was now becoming famous, I decided to give him a little spotlight, and as a part of this, I pulled out some squared paper and drew some templates of how I could fit my little friend into the lives. So I needed a camera so everyone could see me, a microphone so you could hear me. Though most laptops these days come with cameras and microphones built in, I'm not actually using a laptop. I have a Mac Mini which doesn't come with a camera or mic, and the built-in speaker is not great, so I added a camera and a microphone. But before I could do anything else, I needed to upgrade my Mac. While my new Mac works really fast and does a whole bunch of things that my old one doesn't, it's lacking on ports. And unfortunately, since it's a non-user serviceable item and would void the warranty if I added something, I decided to think outside the box. So I got myself a gadget that not only adds extra USB ports, but allows me to upgrade the storage too. Great for backing up the YouTube videos I make for my channel. So now I had a Mac Mini with a camera and some storage. I could now add an extra camera so that I could show off Hoggy. I was trying to work out how to add Hoggy to the lives as I was fiddling with a second camera and had a eureka moment, a stroke of genius. I didn't need to move the pig-shaped timer, instead I just needed to make it look pretty. So I decided I would print out a background and add it to highlight Hoggy and hide the ugly mess of wires underneath my monitor. Perfecto! Here is my really low-tech solution. I laid my camera on top of some CDs and curled the paper background so I could solve both problems. So now Hoggy has a background and I hide my wires. This also means I can hide any background I like. For example, Hoggy in space, or Hoggy in a pigsty, or even Hoggy in the bath. I realised there was a massive space. I went onto Canva and created a background or two and decided I needed to add some blank spaces so I could tweak them later in OBS, which is the streaming software I use. I've seen on other lives that some people like to include the writing program they use, or even some adverts. And this looked good, but I wanted something different. Another flash of inspiration, and I decided what I wanted. I rooted around for an old webcam I had with a fisheye lens, and I plugged it in then blue tacked it to the monitor riser and added more USB ports using a portable hub so I could fit a third camera. The rest of the setup is all configured in the OBS software. I made some chat windows for free using a website that I'll link to in the description, and I added them as a source. Cameras, scenes and microphones were all configured so that it could give the best experience, and then I tested it. As part of the new experience, I also upgraded my shelving so I could maximise the storage in the small study I'm in, and then I spent some time getting the books and ornaments ready behind me. I'm really pleased with the result, and I hope you like it too. So what are the pros and cons of this setup? Pros are this is a very small setup. Doesn't use a lot of electricity, so it's good for the environment. The end result is also different to other people's ideas, and the setup is relatively easy to upgrade. The cons are that the Mac, extra storage and cameras weren't cheap, but I decided to invest for the long term, and I'm already considering alternatives in future once the Mac stops its updates in approximately 7 years' time. What will I change in the future? I'll probably add a USB fan to keep it cool whilst running all the extras during the summer, otherwise this could prove very expensive. I just want to finish off by saying thank you to everyone who came to my first Wednesday Writing Live, and just let you know that the next live will be on Wednesday 18th of June 2025 at 10 AM GMT. I hope to see you there. And that's all for this week. Stay tuned for the next exciting episode of the Foggy Author, and I'll see you in the future.